There once was a town that worked so hard, there was just no time for play. But that all changed on this one particular day. When out of nowhere, this bus showed up. And out stepped that old guy. Yeah, the old guy was right. In the end, no one ever says, I wish I'd worked around the house more. Six Flags. It's playtime.
How many, how many, how many, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right, what did I get up to?
And welcome to a new episode of How Many, your podcast where four guys in a suburb of Dallas-Fort Worth get together on a weeknight and just basically shoot the baloney. I am one of your hosts, Jesse Jackson. Joining me, as always, is...
Mexican Jr.
Scott Matula.
Bob Bland.
And there goes my phone. Someone saying, hey. And I don't know what the San
What is that
Antonio.
ringtone?
That is a Doctor Who theme.
Ah, okay.
Yes. So.
How many good Doctor Who's have there been?
Oh, that would be a great episode.
Actors or shows?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I think he means like the actual doctors.
Yeah, that would be awesome. What we do is, for those of you who are new, welcome to 2018. We are four friends, and this is an excuse for us to get out of the house and just basically talk. So we take turns picking a topic, and then we discuss it. And this episode, Scott's picking the topic.
I have the topic this time. For those of you who are local, you're going to understand this, but I think those who are out of town could also apply the ideology that I want to talk about how many rides our Six Flags Over Texas really has. And
How many good riders?
good rides. My thinking is, you go to Six Flags, and let's say you get there at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever. Park closes at 6 or 8, whatever time. Your time is budgeted. You have time for a certain amount of rides.
Unless you get one of those easy pass thingies.
Unless you get an easy pass thing. But still,
But you still have
you're
a
going to
selection
choose
to pick.
what you want to ride. What's worth your half-hour wait?
And so I do think that, if you don't mind, I'd like us to go around the table with Six Flag thoughts and memories. So, Bob, you want to go first?
Yeah, the only real Six Flags memory I have is we went there for my senior trip in high school.
Uh-oh.
And
This was in the 60s?
no, well, not too far from it. This would have been the spring of 1984. And there was a concert there that evening that we saw, and it was a big act at the time, and that was right around their peak of their fame. Huey Lewis and the News.
Ah, the great
Wow.
Huey Lewis and the News, who
Yes.
should be a future How Many.
Yes, we should.
And I acquired a sleeveless Huey Lewis concert T-shirt that day.
Does it still fit?
Oh, I haven't had it forever, but no.
Do you have a photo of young Bob in that?
Not wearing the shirt, no, but
So
I.
it said 4 on it?
Because as you're saying how many hits they had?
No,
No,
he has more
that's,
than four.
no, that's the name of the album, isn't it?
Oh, Fore. No, I think it was just generic Huey Lewis and the News.
No, Huey Lewis and the News probably has 10 maybe?
Yeah, I would say
Package,
10.
okay.
But that's I've got a picture, like, when I was little, my parents took me there because they were up here visiting my grandmother, who briefly lived in Dallas, and I was probably like 4.
Yeah.
So I don't remember. I just saw the picture of me driving the car with my dad in the car. But and I've been back a couple times. I don't know. I think I've outgrown the amusement park.
So, a couple of memories for Six Flags. When my dad was in the Army, moved around a lot, but when we settled, like when I was like the 8th or 9th grade in Lake Charles, Louisiana, Astroworld was only a 3-hour drive.
I went to Astroworld many
Yes.
times back in the day.
And so I have very fond memories of Astroworld because it was smaller than Six Flags, yet still magical. Always afraid of roller coasters. So I did my first roller coaster on at Astroworld because a lot of church trips there. We got in the church bus, and one of the dads drives us, and we go there for the day. That was my first trip to Six Flags, was a church trip, and so some girl that I had a slight crush with at Gillis Baptist Church, like, oh, you got to ride the roller coaster, and of course I'm not going to go. Oh, I'm too afraid. Like, okay. In fact, when Lynn and I were dating, we went up to Six Flags. Her brother was living here in Dallas, and we drove up from Lake Charles, and we're in line for the roller coaster, and she looks at me and she goes, "You're really afraid, aren't you? I mean, your face is white as a sheet." I don't like being scared.
Which we found out in the Stephen King
Yes,
segment
absolutely.
just a little while ago.
Now, Astroworld, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Astroworld did the lock-in for my high school senior 1977. Astroworld, all this senior night, so people, it was, open at 10 at night till 10 in the morning. Always enjoyed it. And then, not my story, but I think it's a great story. My brother-in-law, Clayton, which everyone knows, but Scott, talks about when he was like 10 or 11, his parents came up from Houston to Astroworld, and they spent the day at Astroworld, and the old Arlington Stadium was there. And he said, "I want to go to the Ranger game," and everyone was tired. And tell you a different time, right? His dad gave him $20, dropped him off at the stadium.
Oh wow!
He
How old
bought-
was he at the time?
He like 9 or 10.
Oh wow!
And he, they were staying at a hotel that was walking distance. They were there, and so he dropped him off. He got a ticket for the bleachers. He bought a hot dog. He watched it, and he's been in love with the Rangers ever since. That was the
Nice,
first baseball he ever saw, and he just has been a Rangers fan ever since. So
The thing that was really cool about Astroworld, Stay Hard Astroworld,
Yes.
by the way, because it's defunct, was it was on the other side of 610 from the Astrodome,
Yeah.
and they shared the parking lot, so you had to park in the Astrodome parking lot, and they had these little shuttle trams, and they would pick you up and you would drive you across the little bridge across 610. And I always thought that was kind of cool. I don't know.
It was the best ride in the park.
Yeah,
So-
How
yeah.
about you, James?
So I will tell you up front, I am not a roller coaster guy at all. And since you brought this up, I went and looked at my photo album to see the last time I actually rode a roller coaster. And you can tell by the expression on my face.
Send me
that
that
I am not
photo.
happy.
This photo will be on the
So
page.
vinegar stroke face.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I have the haircut of the guy from Stranger Things that was possessed by the vine monster.
Squiggle hanging out of your mouth right there.
Did you?
So
Did you take the kid there ever?
So I've lived in San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas. So I've been to Six Flags. I've been to Fiesta, Texas, and I've gone to Wonder World. I've gone to
Wonder World?
Yeah, the
That
one on
doesn't
35
count. In San Marcos?
Yeah, and
That's
I've
so
been
spare
and I've been to
there.
Ocarina Springs, and I've been to
Terrible.
Astroworld.
Okay.
So I've
think
run the
Glass
gambit
boats.
of all of the little amusement parks in that.
So you
little
have
area.
Texas amusement park bingo. You have spelled
Yeah,
bingo.
yeah.
Have you been to the
I-
snake farm?
Yeah, I've been to the snake farm. Yes, off of 35.
Natural
So I've
Bridge
hit all of the little amusement areas, but I hate roller coasters. Not because I get scared, because I get sick. I
Yeah.
very easily get
sickness.
motion sickness.
Yeah.
So even though it's not really a scary thing, I will get sick mid-ride.
That's the other thing.
Vomit will just project as I'm going up and down the slide and hit me in the face as I'm coming down.
I have some of that too, where I just am. I don't like getting nauseous or dizzy. Scott, so you brought up the topic.
Yeah,
Tell me what your.
I've been going to Six Flags probably since 5 years old, 6 years old.
Yeah.
You know, I lived in this area all my life. Not so much anymore. You know, there's years between times that I go. But you know, I still have the sensory feeling that, you know, when I smell tar. You know, when you walk into a parking lot and you can smell the tar into the hot.
It's so
sun,
hot, yeah.
It immediately takes me back to Six Flags because it was such a magical place when I was a kid. I mean, the romance and the mystery that was Six Flags as a kid is not there anymore. Let's face it. I mean, it's all about.
Now, since you grew up here, did you ever have like season pass?
I only had a season pass once, but that was later in life when I was selling tickets at the record store, and they gave us season.
Because
pass.
locally, like a lot of kids, teenage kids, they'll get those in the summer,
Right.
and that'll be like the hookup area.
That's all
right?
you do,
They'll
right,
just
yeah.
go there to.
Chris
crap
had
out.
that.
Oh, Poochie.
Chris was Poochie. You know, Colin, his best
Yeah.
friend. They would buy a
T1.
season pass and get.
Oh,
you
I
know,
thought you
Chris.
meant more of the hooking up.
That may have happened too, but they went a lot, and Linda loves those kind of rides. So when we would go, I would just sit and, you know, I love like going to the musicals or, you know, we will talk about spoilers, but I did like the Runaway Mine Train. You know, that was enough for me. I didn't get quite dizzy enough and everything.
So I will say, of the roller coasters I have gone on, the only one that I really enjoy, only because it's so short and it doesn't affect me, and it involves water, is the log ride.
The log ride.
Love the
Okay.
log ride.
Right.
And the raft, the
big
inflatable-
round,
the
yeah.
big round inflatable raft.
Right.
And
Love
if I
those.
remember correctly, the French fry booth is near that where they did of course, I'm all about the food, the fat guy, but they have the homemade French fries that you got, so
Ooh.
really good stuff. So
See, for me, it was always the pink thing.
And Scott, just getting back to your story about the smells, is there anything better than a smell that brings back nostalgia? Like you said, the tar is
Right.
the smell for you.
Yeah.
Like for me, anytime I smell like a new plasticky smell, it makes me think of a Toys R Us, like brand new He-Man. There's nothing.
Yeah.
He-Man?
There's nothing better than smelling the brand new He-Man straight out of the package. Makes me think of Toys R Us just walking up and down the aisles in the
Wow.
80s.
Yeah.
Love that. Anyway,
That's cool. That's cool.
cool. All right, so Scott.
Well, getting to our rides, we're going to look at the rides in alphabetical order.
Okay.
I
Are
have.
we supposed to predict how many?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. That's true. And I'll let you know up front, I have omitted any of the kiddie
You're right.
rides.
Okay.
The little kid rides, you know, that it's safe to put your kid on by themselves or that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I've omitted those, and I went ahead and I took out attractions. Although I know that, hey, going to see a show at the Southern Palace might be your thing. I always felt like that was the parents' way of like, I just want to sit in some AC for a little bit. Let's
you
just
know,
take the kid
The
in.
gunfighter.
Yeah. Oh,
Grego.
Grego, a rare medium, well done.
Yes.
That was the yeah.
So how many possible choices do we have?
Let's see. I should have counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 26, 7, 8, 9, 3. They're about 32.
Okay, I'm going to base this on not whether I like them or not, but whether they are, if I did like that kind of thing, is it a decent ride? And I think a good point is it worth the 30-minute
Or an hour.
or, wait for go? So I am going to say they hit 50%. I'm going to say 16.
Ooh.
Since I know nothing about this topic, I'm going to make it a low number. I'm going to go 8.
Okay?
I'm making it a really low number. I'm going 5.
Wow.
Because I
Okay.
think Six Flags is a lot of spare rides. There's only a
Okay.
handful that are really.
All right.
And that's the
And
idea.
Scott, did you have a thought before you looked this? 'Cause
My thought was going to be I didn't know how many rides they were going to be in there, obviously. And I was guessing, let's see, okay, time frame. I'm trying to figure hour long, 2 hours here. I figured about 12 to 15. I'll go 12.
Okay, wow, I'm leading the pack.
Yeah.
The most
Yeah,
choices.
you're overselling.
Okay. Yeah,
You're
I am overselling. All right, so. good.
Okay, so we have to understand that Six Flags has gone DC and Warner Brothers. That's
right.
their thing now. So their rides and
Yeah, it
attractions,
seems like Batman is the theme of every roller coaster that gets released.
pretty much.
And I will tell you, as a DC fanboy, kind of bothers me because really it has nothing to do with Batman.
Right.
It just has the name, like the Joker.
Exactly.
But, I mean,
The Dark Knight
I will
Express.
tell you,
And I'm going to have to try to describe some of them
yeah,
too, I guess.
one
at
of
some
my
point here.
best memories is I was in Las Vegas and everyone else is worried about going to strip clubs or things. I just wanted to go. One of the
Stratosphere?
hotels they had a Star Trek exhibit, and you went in. They kind of had a timeline, and they had props and costumes, and then they had a virtual roller coaster. You
A 4D
get,
thing.
yeah, you get into an elevator, and all of a sudden the noise and everything, and then when the lights come up, you are in a transporter deck of the Enterprise, and they rush. You go to the bridge, and then you go onto a virtual roller coaster that looks like a shuttlecraft, and you go, and you're actually in
That's
space.
So do you actually get to take the con?
No, but I wanted to so bad. And there is a here's Picard and Riker and Troy's seats, and right where the turbo lift would be, they've got a door that says head. Like we knew there had to be a bathroom on the bridge. So like
That's very similar to our experience in Vegas.
Oh, the
because
Marvel
we went to
thing?
the Marvel
The
Museum,
Avengers thing?
and it had all of the Avengers paraphernalia, like the shield and the motorcycle of Captain
Yeah.
America. You get the
Bruce Banner's lab.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then we get to fight Ultron at the end. It was very very cool.
But if you're gonna go back to the DC thing, or just having a park that is based in one theme like that, what about a Stephen King themed park where you have all of that would be pretty interesting.
That would be, yes.
So a foot block where Kathy Bates, like a robotic Kathy
Yeah.
Bates, can
Well,
come.
or the smokers lounge. Where
Oh yeah, with 96 years constant loop.
Yes. All right. So alphabetical order, Scott.
Okay. The first one we're going to talk about is the Aquaman Splashdown.
Aquaman.
Okay.
Aquaman Splashdown. And it's basically you're in a large boat, 12 foot long, and there's everybody sitting like 4 foot wide. And it's a roller coaster of such that takes you around. And,
Is it kind of a log ride kind of thing?
you're not, I don't think you're in water until the very end. It's one of those roller coasters that comes down and it goes into the
okay.
water, at the bottom, and it has the big splash. It's designed to get you wet. You're going to get soaked. That's all there is to it.
I am a fan. You're hot, you're sweaty, and any ride that cools you down
With
for
water,
the payoff
yes.
is a yes.
Plus, Aquaman in the Justice League movie was pretty cool.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
Called Drago. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give
I
you that
love the
one.
fact that he kind of was like, we'll package. We need to do a Justice League discussion.
okay.
Yeah, it'll be
Have a
part
good-
of our movie.
Now, the only I had someone talking about this. I was talking about it the other day with someone, and they said they avoided all the rides with water because you didn't want to walk around with crotch rot all day long
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
you're wet,
I mean, If
Of
it's
course-
a summer day,
Right.
it'll dry.
Well,
off.
and now with cell phones, that's the other thing.
Yeah,
You have to
that's
be careful
true.
with, too.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm giving it.
Okay.
I would do it. I would
Yeah.
say yeah. That's
Based on your description, I'll say yes.
Yes.
okay. So we got 4 there.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm compressed. All right. So the next
You're
one.
compressed. Are you zip file?
The next one is the Batman the Ride. Where it's the roller coaster, but you're hanging down underneath the car. You're not up on
That
top.
sounds
You're-
terrible. Anytime you're hanging.
It's like that one in SeaWorld, the Great White. Have you ever ridden that one?
No,
It's
I've
the
been to
same.
SeaWorld. It's part of my Texas
Tour,
tour of
yeah.
all of the amusement parks. But anytime you're Hanging upside down.
And it spins. On
No, I
you.
don't think you're upside down. I think you're just your legs are dangling.
Your
You're
legs
strapped
are
in.
dangling. You're
Okay,
on
but
cars
you're being
spinning.
spun around at a very high speed. That sounds
So that's a no for
awful.
Jesse.
Yeah, I'm a no too.
Yeah,
I
thumbs
wouldn't
down,
get
thumbs
sick.
Okay, all right. Well, only got one there. All right. The next one, this one is an oldie but a goodie, and I'm including it only because of the nostalgia factor. But the Texas and the Boomtown Depot, it'd be the train, the classic train.
Just the one that goes around the amusement
Yes.
park. That's a yes for me because
And
I
see-
actually think that one doesn't
Yes.
bother me.
Yeah,
I
I'll
do
give
too.
that a thumbs
I-
up.
Yeah,
I
once
do-
again, it is a little bit of, as you talked about Southern Palace, the kids like it, you get a
It's a
rest.
chance to
you
sit
know,
And
Yes.
if you do it strategically, it'll save you some walking to get from one side of the park to
Exactly.
the other.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And we skip a bunch of kid rides and go to the Catwoman Whip. And the Catwoman Whip is your typical, it's the large
Swings.
arm that has the cars that hang around it, and the cars spin around like this, and it goes up, and it does this kind of a thing.
Again,
It's a
you're
vomit
just the
comment.
movements of your arms alone is making me.
You're like,
You're like, oh, that sounds awful.
you
Like,
can get some Alka-Seltzer right
You'll
now.
spin and tilt in a circular motion, building at speed as the ride whips you around.
sounds terrible.
So
I'm
Sounds
Tara's
like a
out.
whip.
yeah, it sounds like a massive whip.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay, I probably would skip that one too because I don't like to go upside down or backwards.
Right.
Another one I'm going to include, just again for the nostalgia factor, is the Chaparral antique cars. Remember the antique cars that you would get?
When
at-
you're a kid, it's all like you think you're driving. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
So
great.
the
But it
ones
has
that
a
are
big-
on the preset track.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it
rail.
looks
That's
like
that's a yes for me. I like those.
I agree too, and partly this is, as a kid, you know, I'm thinking as a parent and a kid, but yes, I mean, that's, you know, that's a fun ride, that's a keeper.
It's a relaxing thing, you
Yes.
know. And as a kid, there's no greater thing than watching the kid try to drive. But I was
Yeah.
always the kid that tried to keep it straight. Whereas I had this one friend, his thing was like, he was going to tilt that wheels back and forth, and you're like,
Yeah.
you're banging on it, you know.
Mhm.
It's like, bastard.
Okay.
The next one is the Conquistador.
That's that big,
The big,
scorpion
big
looking
ship
thing.
that moves.
Yeah.
A ship that just goes back and forth.
Okay, that's pretty lame.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty spare.
So I will say, I went to Six Flags maybe about 5 years ago with my girlfriend and her brother, and they got on that Conquistador, the giant ship that just rocks back and forth. I couldn't do it. It looks awful, and it looks like at points you're like perpendicular
Yeah.
to
You
the
are.
ground. I mean, you're asking to be falling out of the ship onto the ground.
Now-
This whole topic's going to be like terrors of terror.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, Bad Ride, good Procol Harum song. I would actually
What,
do
the
that in
Conquistador?
karaoke. Yes, I would definitely.
How does that
do
go?
Conquistador. Da, 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 da. I don't know the words, but I have to have them piped in. But, it's a
But
good
yeah, you
song.
want to do karaoke.
But the
version.
ASCAP will get us mad if you start singing.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the Beatles songs. You kind of know the words
Yes.
to.
So Conquistador is out. See, I'd be the only one probably would do that one.
But if Junior wrote that, he would turn a whiter shade of pale. Keeping it on the Procol
Yeah,
Harum.
there we go. I like that. Okay. The next one is Dive Bomber Alley. And this is the one you see at any kind of roadside amusement park, you know, it's where they put you in the harnesses and you're suspended by the cables and they just crank you way
Oh,
up.
it's just like a bungee thing?
Yeah, and then you just like shoot.
Those
you
are spare.
swing
That
back.
sounds awful.
Yeah, I find it spare. It's nothing I would want to wait
Yeah.
for.
Now, I have done a zip line before, which sounds like it's kind of similar, except you're not going straight down.
You did the Fremont one?
I've done zip
No,
lines.
I've done.
Slotzilla?
I've, in my trip to Manila, Cuba Baldi. In my trip to Manila, we.
Were you down there meeting a lady?
I went on a. No, I went down. It was for work. I went down a zip line, right over a Manila forest for a good, I don't know, 3-4 minute zip line
So it
across.
was all kind of pale yellow.
Yeah, and you really have to worry about the quality of the zip line that's holding you up because at any point, you know, maybe somebody didn't strap it on correctly, they didn't read the instructions properly, and you're just worried that you're going to fall to a foresty death with, you know, branches and stuff sticking out of your body
And
when they
large
find
snakes
you.
down there.
Yeah.
You're right.
He's been there many times. And every time he's played poker so poorly, they've now started calling him the Manila Folder.
Okay.
That was a long walk for that one, man.
No support.
Okay, this next one is Sotero's favorite. It's called, and maybe you should pronounce this, El Aserradero.
El Asadero.
El Asadero.
Okay.
It's the log ride. It's just been renamed.
Okay. So I love the log ride.
I love the log ride
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
I would give the log ride there because you never know when you're going to catch the wet T-shirt effect. You know,
Ooh, good
on-
And I recently got on the log ride at one of the trips to the state fair that I had over the past couple of years. They have the log ride there, so it's always a big must do.
Yeah.
how about El Sombrero? Do you remember the
Isn't that the one that's
the big hat that just kind of goes around like that?
No.
That sounds terrible. You know what ride I did recently, and I don't know if this is on your list or not. What's the one where you go into this circle room and you're like tied to the wall?
The
and it
centrifugal.
just- yeah,
I
and it
hate
just-
that
That's
one.
they used to have one at Six Flags. It was called the I had it just a few minutes ago because I was going to talk about it. But it was the same thing. It was a round room. You stood against it, and it starts to
It just
spin, and the
starts
floor
spinning.
drops.
Yeah, the floor drops. You're there hanging, and like all of a sudden you're seeing everything in weird 3D shapes, and even though we're all already in 3D.
That would make me throw up.
That one got me sick.
I did that one maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
It didn't make you sick?
It did. So again, that's why I hated it.
You
But
skipped that
it was
one.
part of a group outing, so I couldn't say no.
Yeah. Okay. Next one would be the Gunslinger. The Gunslinger take flight over the prairie in this spectacular wave swinger with the country sky at your feet. I'm going to look at see what it looks like. It looks like a big, basically the chain ride, you know, where you're
Those chairs.
the
sitting
chairs.
down.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It has the chairs you sit in, and it just spins around,
Spins you
and-
around.
and you start to rise up like this. And
That sounds
No.
awful.
Yeah, those are spare.
okay, I'll give the no on that one. That's the Gunslinger, right? Okay, yeah. And a classic, Judge Roy Scream.
Yes.
I was
those
waiting
are-
for you to
Yes.
get to
That's
that.
one of the patented Six
Yes.
Flags.
Yeah, even though I hate
I have read
rides,
that. I have ridden the
I've
roller
done it
coaster.
too. That's like something
and
you
that's
have to
great.
do.
Yes.
That's
I
a
agree.
wooden one, right?
Yes, that's the wooden roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
Then we have one that's not unlike what you were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
the 4D ride, Justice League Battle for Metropolis, where you go in and sit in your cart and you've got the screen up there that's 3D and the thing moves, you know, and jerks you around.
Okay.
It's air conditioned.
I'm almost tempted to pay way too much money to go to Six Flags just
Just
to
to see
do
that.
The Metropolis ride, so you can pretend to be Superman.
Yes.
Superman, right?
It doesn't sound horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody's hanging upside down.
No.
Nobody's.
And you get to sit down. It might trigger your motion sickness because there's stuff moving on the screen.
So I have done the rides like in arcades where you walk into that giant box and
Like the fake roller coaster where
Yeah, the fake roller coaster, and you're going through like a zombie house and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I've done those, and those are fine.
So you two
It's-
are in.
It's just anytime you're
Yeah. Oh,
real life hanging from the sky, and it may be more in addition to motion sickness, my whole fear of heights. That is one of my biggest fears. So, and I always
Ooh,
feel like
interesting.
Yeah.
the seatbelt is going to come undone or something like that. Like we've heard stories.
And
recently.
I always worry my glasses are going to fall off. So I got to
Yeah.
take my glasses off, put them in a pocket. So now then, not only am I running around, but I
You
can't
can't see.
There was a lady that got woohoo-hooed out of a roller coaster at
Yeah,
Six Flags.
that's
a few
happened
years ago.
recently, and
Yeah.
and on more than one occasion, especially when it comes to those pop up out of nowhere kind of parks and
Oh, like a parking lot or the
yeah,
Albertsons.
carnival thingies.
Was Six Flags the one where the dude, his hat fell off, so he like climbed back to get it, and like in the enclosure, and it was one of those where the roller coaster flips upside down and goes kind of low to the ground, and it
Decapitated.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear
I think
that story.
yeah, I remember that story.
I don't know if that was a Six Flags, but it was somewhere like that. But
Well, he paid for that.
he really wanted that
You know,
hat.
yeah. Hope that trucker hat served him well. La Vibora. Do you know this one? This one, it used to be called, it's kind of like a landslide kind of a thing. You get into the big bobsled. That's what it was. The big bobsled ride. It's like a log ride, only there's no water. you're just in a big bobsled track, and it doesn't go super fast. It's just way up high on the walls. You get like 6 people to a car.
Now
I
that
think
one
I
doesn't
remember
sound
that.
bad.
That sounds fun.
It's a
Yeah,
bobsled
like
ride.
anytime you're enclosed in something to where
Yeah.
you're not isolated with only a belt to keep you from falling to your death.
Yeah.
I think I'm more okay with those.
And it supplies you with photos at the end, so you can see how you look. as
Yeah,
you
how
come around
I'm,
the
you know,
corner.
how I'm got vinegar stroke face.
Yes. Yeah. So we got 3. What
I'll
do you
give that a
got?
yes.
Okay.
Is this one you want to spend your time on?
Sounds pretty spare
Yeah.
to me, but I mean, it's passed no matter what.
So we were talking about roller coaster deaths, so I went ahead and brought up the worst roller coaster deaths of all time
Nice.
as a Google search. And in 2008, a Six Flags in Georgia was riding the Batman and was decapitated. Just like you said, he got into a restricted area, went back to go get something, and
I think it was his hat fell off and he went
Batman chopped his head off. Clean as a whistle. Chopped it
Oh,
right off.
Johnny Wyatt, Johnny Wyatt.
Okay. I'm throwing this one in only because some of us have kids or had kids. The mini mine train.
Hat?
Well, you know, I'm saying little kid.
Oh.
My kid's grown now. He was.
Oh.
He was
Yeah, mine too.
I thought
Like,
maybe we had a
I took my
bear
son.
trap here.
No.
I took my son to Fiesta, Texas, when he was really young. He wasn't old enough to be able to mock me yet for not wanting to get on the rides, which I was very grateful for. But we did get on one of those little, not heavy-duty roller coasters, one of the ones that were designed for kids, and I felt so brave and so proud of myself that I didn't get sick.
You were. You were.
You know, I kind of feel bad that the cars, you know, were
Yeah.
getting a pass, but that just looked just so spare.
I won't do it. I won't spend my time on the mini mine
Yeah,
train.
okay, yeah.
Unless I have my small child with me.
Right,
I'm not gonna
then,
do it.
yeah.
But I threw it in as the stuff.
I mean, I kind of did like the mini mine train, but more because it would go in and out. Like it was more for the ambiance of it. Like they tried to replicate you were actually going through.
Well, that's
a
the
mine.
runaway mine train.
Okay, I guess.
And
I'm
I
thinking-
always remember that
Yeah.
because it slows down, and I may be jumping ahead, but you're in this saloon looking, you know, and everything. You're looking at all the people, and all of a sudden it
Yeah.
jumps down. Yes.
Right. Spindle top. That's the one that was spun around and around. It just hit me.
Spindle.
The
So,
spindle top.
one that I forgot, because I went to Disneyland, I want to say
Hugh
around,
Vivaldi.
well, this is a long time ago, this was around 2003, 2004, and I was with a girl at the time,
Oh.
so I had to pretend to put on the brave face if I got on. I got on a roller coaster, and I think it was the Space Mountain one, where it's like total darkness,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden, like there'll be neon lights going on the tracks,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden the dips will just come out of nowhere because you're basically blind in the
Yeah.
roller coaster.
Yes.
All of a sudden you just feel your body just go down.
So she couldn't see.
So was that
So
a-
she couldn't see how sick I was.
Were those a whip? Was that
It
worse?
was a massive whip. All roller coasters are massive whips, but that one was
Now
particularly bad.
how have you not been since then? Arla's all Disneyed up. I can't believe she doesn't demand Disney every year. For
We're on a
trip.
budget, buddy. Maybe we'll go this year. Who knows?
Mr. Freeze reverse blast. I'm out. It goes backwards.
Yeah.
This is the one that it goes up this
Yeah.
way, and it comes down. It goes up the loops, and it goes back up this way, and then I'm out.
That sounds awful.
If I go backwards, I get sick. I'm out.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. The new Texas Giant. It's a wooden roller coaster, but it's got it has some updates. It's not quite as jerky as it used to be.
That
It's-
one's one of their staples. Also, that's a thumb up.
Yeah, I'm gonna do.
So you've done that one?
No, but I just
I
there's
would.
several rides that you think of when you think of Six Flags.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
one of them.
I think almost any roller coaster, even though they're not what I like to do, is if it's a
a staple ride.
Yeah, it's a big feature.
Yes.
Right.
So just getting back to the deaths again. Another death, the Superman Tower of Power in Six Flags Kentucky in 2007. steel cables came loose on the vertical drop ride. So I guess Superman is a tower where you just go up.
Yeah,
and
see,
you
I
go
always
down.
fear that. Like, you're counting on cables and nuts and bolts to, like, hold for this. I mean,
So it says in this that the cables came loose. A group of teenage girls noticed the fault and screamed at them to stop the ride, but they wouldn't stop the ride.
and then,
Oh, that's a horror movie.
Yeah, it's very Final Destination sound.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
One girl had both of her feet amputated. Serious injuries, but no deaths.
Are we running out of time?
No, I'm listening, but this tweet makes me so happy. I will have to edit this out. Bella Pora has been a guest on my Springsteen podcast a couple times. She lives in New York. She's just wonderful. And I had tweeted, I need people to give me holiday songs. And Bella goes, I assume Junior has already requested Santa Claus is coming to town.
oh,
This is
wow,
his biggest
name
hit.
recognition.
So I'll suggest What Child Is This, sung by Andrew Bocelli and Mary J. Blige. I'm like, that is...
My reputation precedes me.
Dude.
That was, okay, so continue. I'm sorry. I mean, that just makes me smile. It's so much happiness.
Are we going to want to do the oil derrick? You're going to go to the top of the oil derrick and look around and look for miles out into the...
Miles.
That's what it says, miles. You see miles in every direction.
So, like, you actually climb up an oil well.
No, the oil derrick, it's the big tower.
It's just
Okay.
like the Tower
That's-
of Wonderworld. It's,
It's
the
the
same
big
thing.
tower.
Okay. Sounds terrible.
I would
Again,
do it.
fear of heights.
Observation decks are a pretty spare feature.
Right, but
Unless it's like a Eiffel Tower or something like that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I don't know if that's...
I don't think they'll allow you to do an Eiffel Tower.
Because you don't get to rest, you don't get AC.
What is
you
that
know.
a euphemism for?
Well, it's not a euphemism for anything. It's a very
Is it a Dr. Seuss
specific-
thing, a euphemism?
What is the Eiffel Tower now that you brought it up?
It's a structure in Paris.
No. What is let me, do you want me to Urban Dictionary that
Don't
so I can
bother.
figure out?
Don't
What,
bother.
what, like the steeplechase?
Is this some kind of Hart Carl situation or Cleveland Steamer? Or...
This next one's the Pandemonium. No two rides are ever alike on this swooping, twisted track where the action depends entirely on you. You're getting in a car, and it's going to take the track, and you can turn
You're
the wheel,
turning it?
and so you're spinning around this way.
Like the cups that revolve?
Yes,
kind of,
only
sort of?
Oh,
only it's
terrible.
going on a track.
That sounds awful. So not only are you going up and down in high speeds, you're
Yeah,
spinning yourself.
It's a
to
teacup
death.
roller coaster. It's a combination.
Yeah, it's a teacup roller coaster.
But you know what? Because of the name, I may give it a thumbs up because Pandemonium is one of my favorite movies from the 80s. That's the Carol Kane movie where she has those powers and she's at the university. It was big on HBO in the 80s. Anybody familiar with that movie?
No.
Is that the one
No.
where Michael J. Fox does the scavenger hunt?
No, I think, isn't that Scavenger Hunt or something
No,
like
it's
that?
Midnight Madness.
No, look up Pandemonium. That's a good movie. It's got Pee Wee Herman in it. And,
Paul
and the
Rubens.
Smothers Brothers.
Okay, now you're
Smothers
talking.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Dick
Okay.
Smothers.
We're really, that's
Yeah, we're
crazy.
yeah,
there, man.
that's-
Okay, Roaring Rapids. That's the big round thing that goes through the
Love that
rivers.
one.
Okay.
That's a yes.
I would give the Roaring Rapids my.
Even though that one may have more danger to it
Yes,
than any
but
of the
I
other roller
don't,
coasters.
it doesn't make me nauseous.
No.
So, yeah.
Okay, so Bob.
Bob's too
Okay.
busy looking at his.
I'm looking at Pandemonium. Judge Reinhold was in that too. Yeah, that one.
Do you need him to repeat what?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm
Okay.
okay with it. That's good.
Let's see. I'm going to cut that one because it's. I realize it's a kid's ride. Runaway Mine Train.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a staple, right?
Yeah, it is.
Ooh, Phil
Okay.
Hartman too.
Then there's Runaway Mountain.
What's
Runaway
that?
Mountain is a roller coaster not unlike what you were describing a minute
Like
ago.
Space Mountain?
It is indoors
At Six Flags?
at Six Flags. There is no light, nothing, and you ride through
I don't
it. and-
remember that. Is that a new one? I don't remember.
It's
that
been there
being
for a few years.
Oh,
I will tell you, Space Mountain, it seemed like a cool concept,
I don't know, man.
even though I know it's kind of SG like stuff, but
Yeah.
being in the dark like that, not knowing when the turns and the drops are coming, was kind of cool in theory. But when
It seems
put
like it
into
would-
practice, it
It
was
seems like it would eliminate a lot of the stress and the anxiety of anticipating
Right.
You basically have to have dead fish your body and just kind of.
So is that a thumbs up or no?
Sure, yeah. You know what? Give it a thumbs up. We'll
Jesse?
inflate your score.
Yes, I
Yes.
like it.
Yeah, I mean, Space Mountain sounds
Cool.
cool.
Okay, the Shockwave.
The shock
Another classic one.
Shocks you.
The
That's the
classic-
double loop.
the
That's
double
right
loop,
on 30.
right there
yeah,
on 30.
That's signature
Yes.
Six Flags. Right
Not
there.
enough alcohol in the world to get me on it, but I will yes vote for
I'll
it.
vote yes to it if you know it sounds terrible.
I mean, you've seen it, right? It's right there
Yes.
on
It's-
30.
Yes, the double loop.
Anytime I'm going to Ranger games, I'll
I cannot even imagine being on that and going upside down.
No.
The Sidewinder. This is your classic scrambler ride where it has like the 3 or 4 arms with the cars that go around this way. It
Sounds like the
spins and-
Catwoman whip.
It
Yeah,
just,
it does kind of sound like the whip.
but it doesn't go up in the air. It stays like 5 feet off the ground.
Yeah, no.
No.
I mean,
Thumb up, thumb down.
All right. I'm just
no.
throwing
I
it out
understand.
there. The carousel. Are you okay with the carousel?
Is that just the regular?
It's just the little carousel ride you sit on.
It is kind of lame, but for tradition purposes,
Yeah, I mean, it's a staple.
That's-
Like,
I
it is
thought
a
I'd do that.
staple,
Yeah, but there's nothing that's special about it for Six Flags.
It's
Everybody has.
it's an
that.
electronic machine that
It is.
Six
It's
Flags
the
offers.
one right there
But
by
is
the
it,
gate.
is it a ride? First off, you don't have to wait a long time for it. I think it's a good ride, and
I mean, they have one at
besides,
Stone
it was
Ride.
mentioned in Parenthood.
Oh, okay.
It's a thumbs up. It's a staple.
Okay. It's got 3.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
All right, he's just throwing it out. This is fine. The Speedway go-karts. I think this is
Like Speed Zone?
like the little.
The Malibu?
No, what were those little cars? They had the little mobile cars. It's like the old timey cars, but they had the little sports cars as well.
I
That you would get on
here.
the track and race?
Yeah, it's
That I
That
was
sounds awesome. That
talking
sounds
about
awesome.
that I had been to Six Flags when I was a little
Yeah.
kid, and I think the one picture I have from there is in that type of car you're talking about. So put
That's a
down
yes
what
for
you're
me.
talking
And are you including bumper cars in here at some
they
point?
don't have bumper cars.
Okay, I mean, that would be an automatic yes for me too.
Okay,
I
I'll give
loved bumper cards too.
I'll give that at least a 3 there.
Harkens me back to the days of Whirly Ball.
Yes.
about. Whirly ball.
Back in the day.
When we're in the S's, so we're not far.
Okay.
Your favorite, the Superman Power of Tower.
Oh.
It's the Tower of Power, Tower of Tower that you just
The
read a
limb-
minute
the
ago.
limb killer.
I've ridden this one many times, and every time I ride it, I say, "Why did I ride this ride?"
What? Tell me, Scott.
Yes, sir.
What is the appeal? Like, to me, it just seems like you're punishing yourself.
It is. It is. It is an adrenaline rush. That's all there is to it. The whole
I
idea.
mean, do some heroin if you want to get some.
Whoa.
I don't.
Wow.
I say every time I do it, I've ridden it. I just went, man, I can't ever do that again. And then I'll go get back on it. But now I think I've convinced myself I'll never do it again, because the whole idea of going up and up and up and up and up and up, and I don't know when it's going to stop, and you get so high, it unnerves me.
And I would think once you reach a certain age, your equilibrium just cannot.
It's true. The last couple times I've tried riding something, I get very
Yeah.
So
nauseous.
that's a no, huh?
I think it is an age thing.
Okay.
Equilibrium.
The new one, the Joker. It is another roller coaster that it's individual cars, but it flips you around and like this as you're going through the track. So you're in a car that flips upside down and
Okay.
goes around. I know you're out.
Upside down, that's all you needed to say.
I'm
Unless
out
you're
on
talking
that too.
about the upside down in Stranger Things amount.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. The Texas Sky Screamer. This is basically it's a chain ride, only it goes way up high in the air. So you're sitting in a little chair on the chains, and it spins around. But this one just goes up, 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 up.
Yeah, the whole purpose of those are to make you feel sick. And so I just don't do
Or to impress whoever you're with.
Right, there you go. Yeah, hoping that she's not getting sick as well. The Riddler's Revenge. This is a high flying ride. Let me find the picture because I looked at it before.
Was that
Oh,
the
look
kind of car?
at you!
Is
That's
that the car?
yes, those were.
Hey, maybe that one needs to replace my my sick face on
Well,
my.
maybe.
I don't know.
You can even see the Six Flags on the front of the car.
Very nice.
Okay, Riddler's Revenge is like a pendulum ride. It's a round circle, obviously round circle. Everybody's sitting in a circle, facing outwards, legs dangling, so you're out. And then it begins to swing back and
No
forth and spin.
free flowing limbs
No.
is a no.
And I'm not sure if it goes over the top. It may go over the top, which
Awful.
I'm
Awful,
out.
awful.
I'm out. No. The Titan. This
Yes,
is
that's the one that's a really super tall
right.
one that's got the big woo.
250-foot drop.
I think you have to count that one. That's
Yes.
name recognition alone.
Okay.
Yes.
That's their version of SeaWorld's Steel Eel. Have you ever been to the Steel Eel?
Now, I've never been on any rides in SeaWorld, which you would think I would probably like them because they're all probably water-based.
No, the Great White and the Steel Eel are both straight roller coasters.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like at the bottom of the ride, does it just dump you straight into the killer whale area?
No.
And Shamu eats you? or-
No.
Just dangles you.
No bigger adrenaline rush than that, right?
It's like that scene in the last Jurassic Park movie where the thing comes up out
where
of
the
water.
little balls come out.
It's a thing. Oh, and the last one, every teenager's favorite, Yosemite Sam's Gold River Adventure, as we used to know it, the cave.
Yeah, so I think I've been on that one.
Yes.
That's the one where it's like an old timey kind of barn looking.
You go through the cave and you see a Yosemite Sam Bugs Bunny cartoon basically play out in front of you with animatronics and that kind of
Right.
thing. Yosemite Sam steals the gold and
Right.
Daffy Duck. And
I've been on that one. That's a must. That's a must.
I like it. I enjoy those just because it's a nice power down.
Yes.
It's air conditioned. Okay. Well,
Now, I
that,
will give that a thumbs up because Yosemite Sam is top 5 Looney Tunes characters.
Top
That
Oh, another
another
one.
great episode of this.
How many Looney Tunes are there?
Yeah, yeah.
okay, so counting our 4s. You want to count the 4s or the 3s as well?
No, 3s.
Threes as well. Okay,
Majority
it was 4 or
rules.
3. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 rides.
Wow. Who was closest?
Wow.
Jesse.
I had 16.
He had six. He was dead
Zach,
on.
He wins the Showcase Showdown.
Yes,
he
I
wins
just-
both Showcase Showdowns. The exact numbers.
Man,
Absolutely.
you're right on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
So nice.
I don't know that I would probably ride 16 rides while I was there, but I would
Yeah.
definitely, I would be pulling from those.
We thought about going to Holiday in the Park when I thought my nieces were going to visit. It's expensive.
Very.
Yeah, but I think it would be nice to see. So very cool. Great
You
topic.
know, if I was ever going to go to Six Flags again, I would probably want to go during Halloween, during all of those
It is
zombie
so
attack
packed.
things.
Yeah, I bet.
It is more crowded then
Than
than
even-
Holiday in the Park.
Oh, wow.
Really?
I've been 2 or 3 times during Halloween, and this is back when we had the passes. And every time, it was the proverbial nut to butt.
Ooh.
Every ride
Talk me out of it.
was a
Okay.
huge weight.
Well, good topic, Scott. So let us know your thoughts on Six Flags.
And isn't it technically 5 flags now? Because they had to pull the stars and bars?
I think it
Yeah, I
did.
think
And
you're
they
right.
replaced it with something else, maybe.
Oh,
Tex-
okay.
was it?
Maybe
I don't
maybe
know,
they
was
should
Texas
put the
flag?
rainbow flag up there
So
for the BLT community.
I always did think it was interesting, the idea, they had the different sections that were based on all the different, people that had, the different countries that had controlled Texas. So I always thought that was interesting and understand the purpose of doing it, but,
The other night, I was at my place, Tolbert's.
Right.
Okay. Plug. And there was a band up there. And
Not petty theft.
Not
Thunder
Petty
Road,
Theft.
Thunder
This
Road.
was another band. It wasn't Thunder Road either. It was one of my trifecta nights. Anyway,
Yeah.
and there was a guy up there that was playing lead guitar, and actually my brother was with me, so he's the one who went with me at Six Flags when I was a kid. And I was talking about one of the guys playing guitar, and he said, "Well, which one is it?" I said, "The guy dressed like LaSalle up there." And he looks up and he's like, "Oh, because on the old riverboat ride at Six Flags, they would be going to the river, and the guy would yell up to the dude in the tree, LaSalle!" Or because LaSalle's the riverboat, right? "Is it safe to go on?" He'd be like, It'd be his head would be back and forth shaking no, and he's like, well, we can't turn back now. Oh my gosh, we're gonna run into the waterfall, and it would split open, and you'd go through to another section of the ride.
Headhunters and whatnot.
Yeah, you see the guy with the hand with the little log on it spinning in the whirlpool,
Oh, very nice. Yes, I can remember those. All right. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. I am Jesse Jackson. You can find me on Twitter at Jesse Jackson DFW.
I am Scott Matula. You can catch me at the Twitter, Scott Matula at Scott _
And apparently at Tolbert's.
At
Yes,
Tolbert's,
at Tolbert's.
many days.
We Scott and I watched Thunder Road together.
That's right.
Indeed.
Look for that episode soon on Set Lusting Bruce.
Oh, what? No invite? No. Bob Land at Lukewarm Tallboy on Twitter.
Funny story.
And
And
Mexican Junior. Mexican_Junior on Twitter.
all right, thank you guys, and I hope all the lines when you go to Six Flags are short. Have a good one. Bye.